driving.
Well, we're back from the break. It's 8 minutes off the hour of 9 o'clock. But of course, your investment should definitely kickstart off today if you are yet to invest with Zabo. Dial star 292 hash, and if at all you already have an account, it is the markets are already open for you to continue investing. With a minimum of 15,000 Uganda shillings, Zabo says no hassle for your investment as well. If at all you do not have an account yet, use the USSD code star 292 hash, have your NIN with you, and then start your journey of investment with Zabo. Zabo is a platform by Altex East Africa which says do something new today, and Zabo is my money, my future. So let your money shape up your investment future. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. on a daily, that is Monday to Friday, and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. The markets are only closed during weekends and during public holidays. So do endeavor to kickstart off your investment journey with Zabo. Zabo, my money, my future. Altex East Africa says do something new. It's a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings. You will be able to invest in securities and bonds with Zabo. Now let's move to the SMB Insight this morning, as this particular one takes us to the genetically modified organisms bill, GMO bill, and why are we having challenges with the kind of crops that we're having, especially when it comes to the level of exports. For example, with grains like maize grains, where is the challenge and how can government step up on this particular cause? Let's have more in our SMB Insight this morning.
There is an upcoming thought, conception, that climate change has over-affected all sectors, but has affected the agricultural sector more. So, some scholars are saying that we need to concentrate on the effects of climate change, and they are coming up with their best option of adopting genetically modified organisms in form of food, in form of seed, which some of us are not up to. We feel that we need to first exhaust the prioritized, tested, approved technologies in climate change management as far as climate change adaptation and climate change mitigation is concerned. We still have gaps in irrigation, we have gaps in post-harvest handling, we have gaps in soil fertility management. We still have a lot of things to do before we can think about bringing in the genetically modified organisms. And we also want to bring it out that the indigenous seeds are more resilient to climate change effects than these other genetically modified organisms. And based on the research we have looked at, these seeds require a lot of fertilization, they require a lot of herbicides, which cannot be sustained by our agricultural system. As Uganda, we are also identified by the food we have. So if we are to lose the indigenous seed, we shall lose all the tourists that we are coming in to look at our seed. We have a number of policies, guidelines, but the implementation is the issue. There is limited allocations to monitoring the adherence of certain standards, put standards. For example, we have input suppliers, input supply shops in all our districts, local governments. But it is rare that we check the quality of what they sell. So we would like to incorporate it, especially in the bylaws that we hope district should establish, that the district agriculture officers, especially staff in the production departments, are able to team with the staff in the trade, in the commercial department, to ensure that we do not only look at the taxes that will accrue from some establishments, but to also look at the quality of what these input shops sell, because that is when we shall be sure of what they actually convey to the final consumers and the final farmers.
I need to address the fear of the stakeholders. As Parliament,
in reference to Article 79 and also our rules of procedure, rule number 29, is in line with the powers of people to take on the governance of their country, and also fits into Article 17 of the responsibilities and the duties of the actual citizens of Uganda. So we shall never, and we cannot pass our own laws in line with our interest, but we perform the task of legislation on behalf of Ugandans. Therefore, having concerned Ugandans and resilient to protection of the environment and food safety and the production as a whole, we shall be mandated, and actually we are mandated by law, to consult stakeholders, and their views have to be incorporated into any law before it passes. His Excellency, the President of Uganda, I think suspended the assenting of the GMO a bill because of the connotational issues which are embedded within. As Parliament, if this chance comes to review the same bill, of course we shall bear no advantage not to consult Ugandans, and we shall consult everyone that is still passionate and interested into discovering the smooth run of the country. I know that the ecosystem runs hand in hand with observation of culture, values, and norms. So I'm just wondering, the GMO seeds, where they can be imported expensively, but the outcome are sold cheaply. And we cannot have a seed that is genetically modified, but after being harvested, you cannot produce the same quality product as the mother seed. So I think this is a component that is still open to research. And it does not hide out that most of the advanced countries in agriculture have not so much relied on the genetically modified organic seeds, but they have relied on nature, and nature cannot be governed, nature cannot be limited, nature cannot be controlled. Uganda has been called, and is still being called, the Pearl of Africa, basically because of our good climate and the weather, the gentle undulating landscape, the coastal landscape, the vegetation that we have, that the entire environment is in support with our production locally without mixing it with the genetical organic substances. Where we have some cases where we have planted such genetically modified seeds, and on harvest, even during the process of planting, the rest of other crops are dried up. Where you advance and plant the genetically modified crop, the natural crop has to dry up completely. So this is a disaster. It's a negative effect to our country that we need to subdue to the powers of nature and revise to serve the needful. So we need to confirm to Ugandans that this country is theirs, this country lies into their hands, and their interests have to be catered for in any law before it passes. We are quite sure that as a Parliament, we shall have to serve the needful. I think instead of government putting more efforts into welcoming the genetically modified seeds, we would rather carry on soil sampling to find out which specific area and which type of soil by nature supports which kind of crop to be grown. I think that's what we have to do. But the issue of advancing, going on by advanced seeds, I think it is a disaster to our country and the entire economy. Because I'm looking at a farmer who spends a lot of money just importing marginalized seeds, and after harvesting, you sell such outcome at an expensive expensive price. I think this contaminates with the concept of economy. You cannot invest higher and then you sell cheaply. That is an abnormal way of transacting business. And it's a high time as the country we realized that agriculture and more so gardening, cropping is one of the cardinal job that even God created on the world. Immediately man was created. The first job that was assented to him is agriculture, cropping, animal rearing. And I don't see any kind of herbicide, I don't see any kind of modification that was given to man in order to plant more. But the kind of rules and regulations that man was given and that he was supposed to adapt was to take on the charge of caring for, and taking the monitoring. I think as a country, we need to employ more measures into training on the monitoring and the caring over the gardens, the chambers, in order to improve on the yield. Because we have so much relied on the genetically modified crops, and we are losing the gross domestic product. Our GDP in terms of agriculture is reducing every after day. That's why you see even the coffee, however much statistics say it has gone higher, but how many farmers are planting coffee vis-a-vis the previous one? So when you start the marginal production per farmer and the marginal production per farmer in the past, then you will realize that the GDP is reducing because of over-relying on the genetically modified crops, which is affecting also our foreign exchange earning. In the same way, it is also affecting the GDP per capita. The income per person is going higher, and this will be an advanced explanation for the absolute poverty and the chain of poverty which our population is likely to undergo.
Is the honourable ministers, honourable members of parliament stake on the current situation of the GMO bill? Well, besides that, now we are going to look at the story review. Tonight, Business Today will return Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. We'll be taking you through what is happening across the business world. And currently now, we are joined by our reporter, senior reporter, Samla Hanifa, who is going to take us through what she is working on tonight and what you should be expecting in tonight's bulletin. Good morning, Samla. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Gerald. I'm okay.
Okay. If you are to take our viewers through what do we expect today and what are you working on so that they can definitely switch to Business Today tonight?
Tonight I'm working on the Education Committee, which is going to meet stakeholders in the sports sector.
Okay.
Yeah, they are working on they're assessing the National Sports Bill,
Okay.
which government calls the Physical Activity Sports Bill.
Okay.
2022.
Looking at the sports bill, last week we did have a report here on sports business regarding the fact that the government did table the sports bill, but previously we had the FUFA president, also a honourable member of parliament, Honourable Moses Magogo, also tabled the same bill before. Where are the differences with this one?
Okay, Honourable Magogo presented this bill in November, and government presented theirs this month, actually last week.
Okay.
The movers of this bill, they were given from May to sit and harmonize this bill.
Okay.
Because it obviously has differences. These two movers, government and Honourable Magogo, haven't yet actually decided on which name to give the bill.
Okay.
Government calls it the Physical Activity Bill, and Honourable Magogo says it should be the National Sports Bill.
Okay.
Honourable Magogo says government is Physical Activity Bill. It doesn't focus on the business in the sports sector.
Okay.
And for him, the National Sports Bill is suitable for the bill because it is looking at the business in the sports sector.
Okay. And as we are briefly summing it up here, what do the legislators want the bill to have before it is actually asserted into law? What do they feel should be added to the bill? What do they want in the bill? What are those key highlights that they want in the bill? Which provisions do they want attached to this bill?
The legislators are actually looking at, they want the two movers to first sit and harmonize.
Okay.
Because they want to solve the problems in the sports sector. The sports sector currently has so many problems. Money is appropriated. The National Council of Sports says they have not received the money. They're like, we gave this amount of money, and then the minister comes and says we gave this different amount of money. The national teams are qualified to go for tournaments. They are not given money.
Okay.
And they say we don't receive any money. So the speaker is like, these two bills go to the education committee. The two movers harmonize, and they bring the sports sector to order.
Okay. And we do hope that will solve some of the issues that we have currently. The Uganda Cranes will not be featuring for the CHAN competitions because of lack of funds. I hope that is another issue that will be addressed with the bill.
Yeah, actually, Honorable Magobo yesterday told the Committee on Education that they will not be going for CHAN. They will not be taking the team for CHAN.
Okay.
Because they don't have money, there's no funds.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right. Thank you very much, Sam Hanifa, for your time this time, and for your time this morning, rather. And of course, if you do want to catch up more on the detailed report, tonight is 9 p.m. is Bulletin Business Today. Sam Hanifa will be giving you an in-depth analysis and in-depth analytical detailed report regarding that same bill. So keep it smart 24 TV. Meanwhile, after the break, I do return with the SMB on ground. Good morning.
Smart 24, driving business.